Live. Good evening. How are we doing tonight, Manny?
Good. How you doing, Shane? I wish
Oh, doing.
things were better than
Yeah,
what's
I
going
mean,
on in the news, but
and life gets a little crazy. I mean, we have shootings going on. We have floundering happening in the White House, and some pretty outrageous gaffes on the world stage. All of which we're going to get to tonight, and we're also going to have a conversation with Brian Weinstein, the founder of Synergy Health Network, and he's going to come on, and we're going to talk about the mental health and kind of give some possible motives for what's going on in this crazy world with these shootings and different things like that. So, anything you want to say real quick, Manny?
yeah, this is horrible. What happened today? This happened in Uvalde, Texas, which is about 80 miles west, slightly southwest of San Antonio. And as far as motive, they're not saying, but apparently a kid started to walk into the school. I say a kid because he was 18, I think. And from what I understand, he shot his grandmother first, and then he walked into the school, and he proceeded to shoot many. It's not saying how many were shot, but I believe that 14 children are dead,
And
and
one teacher.
including plus a teacher. Correct.
And there's two more adults in critical condition as well, unknown as to whether or not they're going to make it.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it's, you wonder if it was a copycat crime because of what happened at that grocery store in Buffalo a couple of weeks ago, or was this just something random, or what the heck is going on with the
In the
world these days?
But let's bring in Brian, and we're gonna have a conversation. How you doing tonight, Brian?
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Hey,
Thanks for
Brian.
having. Good evening, Manning and Shane.
So we were discussing earlier before we went live about this shooting, and we were talking about mental health a little bit, and we,
Yes,
of course, before this whole thing broke, we were gonna have you on talking about something completely different, but now, of
sure.
course, we are in the position where this is happening. Now,
Yeah.
now we need to.
So we kind of have to talk about mental health a little bit. I mean,
It's
we're going
very
to have to
important.
get into that, right?
Yeah, it's very important. It used to be kind of taboo to talk about it. Now I think we need to talk about it in this generation. So it's very important to be addressed. You know, it's just a shame what's going on. It's crazy.
Yeah. So again, and what this is going to do, of course, it's going to get politicized as it always does, and the gun nuts will come out. Now, how he got the gun or what kind of gun it was, have they even said that? Have you heard any of that yet?
So it was a semi-automatic pistol that they have came out and said that there was a pistol involved, and to date there has been maybe a handful of crimes like this in a school with a pistol that are really notable.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, what's going to happen is you're gonna get the crowd that says whether it was a pistol or a rifle or whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, all the anti-gun people are going to come out and condemn the gun, and
Yeah.
I mean, there's no real nice way to have this conversation, and not it's just it's frustrating. And why does this stuff keep happening? What in the world could be happening in the minds of people that want to just you want to go somewhere and start shooting people? I mean, is it the video games that kids are playing now? Because I've seen some of these games, including I guess one of them called Call of Duty.
I don't think it helps, guys. I mean, everyone likes video games, but you know, I don't think it helps the situation, but I don't think they're going to ban video games anytime soon,
Well,
right?
yeah, I mean, I don't think so either. But have you seen some of these games? They're so realistic,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
Growing up in the 80s with Nintendo. Yeah, I mean,
right.
64. Yeah, I mean, or
Yeah, no. Now you're blowing people's heads off. You know it's a game. You know it's not real. But do you think that maybe that desensitizes people playing the game?
There's-
Just another head blown up. What's a big deal?
There's a reason. There's a reason we use video games to desensitize soldiers before we send them to war. And we're getting soldiers coming back with severe PTSD, and the only way they're coping in reality is self-medicating or actually seeking help. But a lot of, I think there's a 22 a day, 22 veterans a day commit suicide.
Yeah.
But you look at the statistics, and this is going to shock some people, but statistics are showing a extreme spike in the use of opioids and suicide rates in the U.S. in the last 2 years. Since the lockdowns of various states have went into effect, we've seen a large spike of increase in gun violence, increase of mental health disorders, suicides, and opioid use.
Yeah, and you could take this back. You can go. Obviously, this is tragic, right? A lot of small children. Those are elementary school. That was through sixth grade.
Yeah.
And but then again, you can say, well, what about Chicago? Look what's going on there every weekend. Why is that any different other than it's spread out over a week? It's just as bad there. The mayor, the government in Chicago is a freaking joke, first of all.
So Brian, let's talk about that.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm from Chicago. I love my city. I was born and raised there. I lived there for 32 years before I left.
It's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem in Chicago.
I like picking on him because he lives in Chicago now.
Yeah,
so. I know, and I'm due back to go get some of my pizza, which I usually go a few times a year. But
vamos a ir. Yeah, we'll go.
It's like I haven't been because I don't want to be walking down the street innocently and then get my head blown off.
Yeah. I get it. It's crazy. I used to do home health visits in Chicago, and it's crazy. It's just people need to get support, and it's better to talk if someone's suicidal. They need to talk to a friend, and I think people shouldn't be as taboo as it used to be. I think it's better to call a friend. Call the National Suicide Hotline. You could text if you're having those feelings. It's better to, talk to someone about it before it festers. I think it used to be frowned upon, mental health, but I think we need to embrace it and kind of stop problems before they get worse. Because when you internalize it, it grows, and if you can. Treat it early, lean on friends and family. Definitely important.
Yeah, but how do you deal with, now I'm not saying you're the guy with the answers, or you're not unless you are, you're not a psychiatrist or a counselor or anything like that, right?
I'm a nurse practitioner in Chicago.
And so there are two different things, which is someone who's depressed and has got feelings of maybe suicide, taking their own life.
Yeah.
But isn't that different than somebody wanting to go out and shoot 20 people?
Yeah, it's different. It's homicidal ideation. It's it's horrible. It kind of goes hand in hand with suicidal ideation. The abbreviation is SI for suicidal ideation, HI for homicidal ideation, and they're both horrible, but HI is the worst. Because you're affecting other people, and this gentleman probably has been feeling this way for a long time, but couldn't, I don't think it came one day, man. He probably, these thoughts were probably in this person for a while, and they, because the culture treats it as taboo, mental health, maybe it festered and grew. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know the patient, but I think it's important to, if you're having these thoughts, talk to someone about, everyone's afraid to. That's kind of does that make sense? So
Yeah.
it's still taboo to talk about it and to man up about it I mean, does that make sense? So I think it's important to lean on your friends and family,
Yeah,
that's
I know, I get it, and it's I guess here in Texas it's hitting maybe a little more closer to home. It is a predominantly Hispanic state, Mexican Americans mostly, and you see some of the names that have been released of the deceased children. They're Hispanic, De Garza, Alcantara, Almaguer, and it's like so many Hispanic names you keep seeing and little kids, and it's heartbreaking, and it's I don't know if there's a way to stop this or what they can possibly do, and it's not. I don't think it's an issue of defunding or a result of defunding law enforcement, because something like this has happened in the past, even with heavy law enforcement. So
yeah, I would be surprised if, like you said, Call of Duty. I mean, wouldn't be shocked if these people play games like that. I'm not saying you can't blame the game, but maybe I don't know. It's a longer discussion, but I think the video game industry doesn't help. I mean? So I think then you go back to the 1980s graphics. I'm joking, but maybe they should, because it wasn't as realistic. Growing up in 1980s. We're lucky we had Super Mario Brother. I mean, you can't. Yeah, I mean, right?
I know, and
it correlates. I don't think people should. I think parents need to stop Call of Duty. I mean, and
see, I don't believe in that either. I don't think pulling these games from society is necessarily the answer.
Yeah.
And I don't claim to know what the answer is, but I don't think that's the answer.
Yeah, I'm not saying it is, but
and Texas has red flag laws. I know they have red flag laws, and this guy had been referred to law enforcement multiple times. This child, since he was 13 years old, had been referred to law enforcement multiple times for talking about assault and battery, talking about gun violence, talking about all these different things, which you put them in a broad context. He wasn't old enough to even own a pistol. You have to be 21 to own a pistol.
Yeah, he was not old enough for any of that.
So anybody who wants to say that these gun control laws are working, they're not. And we could statistics in Chicago, one of the worst states, or Illinois is one of the worst states for gun control laws. And how's that working in Southside Chicago?
Yeah, they're very strict. Chicago, you can't even you can't have one in your house in the city limits, period. You cannot have one there at all.
Unless you have a permit.
And you can you're not allowed to own a handgun in the city limits. You're not supposed to. I had one. I purchased it outside the city limits legally, and then I had it in my home in Chicago. But if something would happen, I'd be in trouble for having handgun possession, and it's just the way it is.
Yeah. And so I mean, everybody wants to blame. Oh, the gun, guys! It was a sick individual who pulled the trigger.
Yeah,
I don't care if the guy was a lefty. I don't care if he was a righty. It doesn't matter. He took innocent lives that shouldn't have been killed.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of these people are teenagers, right? Who go off the edge, and I don't think their schools are doing a good enough job at, identifying these troubled teens, guys. So I mean, that's something that could be done, because all these people have had warning signs, right? Correct. So it's just something that people need to take more focus on.
And then you go back to thinking about some states have that 3 strikes law, right? I think California does. California still have that? That should look it up, I suppose. Something like that would that have helped in this case, because this kid was arrested multiple times. I mean, there's a history of crime. And one of the comments here said, one of the reports said he was a gang member. I don't know if that's true or not. There's another photo I saw of the shooter dressed in women's clothes, and there's a photograph there. And so I don't know. I mean, and we'll never know because he was taken down, and he did not survive.
So he was identified. The suspect was identified as Salvador Romas, a Uvalde resident who is also dead and acted alone. He had a handgun and a possible rifle when he opened fire at Robb Elementary School. 2 police officers were shot and wounded, but expected to survive.
Let's see.
So
something else.
That's the latest coming from Fox News. And Biden is supposed to address the nation shortly.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't see much good in that from that guy anyway. My opinion only. You know, the old what's the automatic statement from everyone? You know, thoughts and prayers. And at one point, somebody's like, you know, it's enough of the thoughts and prayers stuff. Something has to happen here. But I don't think more gun laws
are going to solve it.
Or a different gun law would have stopped this because he was obviously shouldn't have had one in the first place. He obviously didn't buy it.
What could have stopped it?
Or if he did buy it, he bought it, you know, black market in the alley somewhere from somebody who shouldn't have sold it.
Brian, one thing we've talked about doing, and I know we're actively pursuing it for group memberships with Synergy, is actually bringing on the mental health and psychiatric services.
Yes.
So
yeah, so you're with Synergy. Tell us a little bit about Synergy, and then
I'm the founder of Synergy Health. We provide direct primary care, so we don't take insurance. It's just, it's kind of like a gym membership, Manny. We have members. We do have people do one-time visits if they're sick. The new thing we're launching this quarter in this year is we're going to businesses, and so at a wholesale price, we will provide primary care to all the employees. So it's a phenomenal program. They get unlimited primary care visits with our healthcare team.
Okay, but this isn't only an employee-employer deal. Anybody can sign up.
Sign up individually. Yes, they could do one-time visits.
Okay, so what's different with Synergy with somebody's at a company about to sign up with Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare?
Okay, first they could sign up. Individuals could sign up for a one-time visit or a membership. For employers, they can sign up for a group plan. Now, some employers offer no insurance, so we're a lifesaver for them. Because if someone, let's say a contractor, his guys are his golden handcuffs in the sense, like if he's not a small contractor, if they get sick, he can't work. So we could fill that void. Now, if someone has Blue Cross, we don't replace Blue Cross, but we keep their cost utilizations down. I'll give you an example. If someone has 100 employees and with all their family members, it's 500 people. Let's say 10 of those people get sick in the hospital with pneumonia, you know what I mean? Well, guess what's going to happen next year when the renewal goes? You know what I mean? Because every year employers get a renewal. Well, if 10 of those people, 10% end up in the hospital with pneumonia, right? Or COVID or whatever it is, and they get $1 million bill each, that's $10 million. Well, guess who's going to pay for that next time the renewal happens? That renewal is going to go up sky high. So we keep the cost by treating early, keeping it boring. We could keep those cost utilizations down, keep the premiums down. So that, plus, we are like the Uber of healthcare, so by providing fast, efficient care, they're actually saving money, businesses.
So what does somebody get if, just if I want to say, okay, you know what, I want to sign up for this. What does it cost? What does it cost for regular?
$79 a month for the regular membership, Manny. It's like a gym membership. We're just a call away. Whenever they need something, we'll take care of it for them with related to primary care, lab work, x-rays, prescriptions. We don't do controls, but the basics. The goal is to save people time. They call the waiting room for a reason. You just sit on your butt and wait. Sorry.
Yeah, I got you.
The problem is we become accustomed to doctors being late. That's the problem. We're used to a doctor being late or prescriber. You know what I mean? It's second nature. How many times in your life have you had a 2:00 appointment with a doctor? Have you ever seen the doctor exactly at 2?
Never, ever.
I haven't met anyone. Maybe a few people who've seen the doctor exactly at 2. Now, wouldn't you rather be at home, sitting on, it's comfortable at home, than sitting in a waiting room? If you don't have a disease, you can pick up the disease from the neighbor sitting next to you.
Yeah.
And then you're driving an hour. This is how it is. You drive an hour to the doctor. You wait, or you have to leave an hour before. Because it even happened to me. I got stuck behind a train when I was going to my primary. They kicked me out. They said reschedule. I got there 20 minutes late. They wouldn't see me. I couldn't control the train. But the point is, traditional primary care, for a minute, it's just kind of old school. It's like using a VHS. Yeah, I mean, it's like Blockbuster is gone. Whoever think. So in my opinion, almost 9 out of 10 primary care things can be done virtually over the phone.
Yeah.
You telehealth. So we're able to do a lot of those things. Can't do everything, but a lot of it can be done. And we're going to be so for employers, the way it works is the employer covers the bill. Employee gets all the visits for free. No cost.
Hey, Brian, let me interrupt you just for a second.
Yeah.
I think there's a live press conference right now. I thought we can get in on this a little bit.
Sure.
Let's see. Or is it over? It's over. Never mind.
No problem. Sorry.
Yep, that's all right.
Yeah. So for employers, basically, employer pays a small monthly fee for everyone, and the price is kind of customizable. We have to evaluate their needs. And
okay, so for like question one here, and I was gonna get to this. For $79 a month, does that limit the amount of calls, or does that include?
I mean, if someone's taking advantage of us, but it's per medical discretion. So our team.
Okay.
So you call us with a problem, right? Primary care related. We have a special member care team. Does that make sense, Manny? So the team will assess it and then farm it out to one of our providers. The provider says, come back in 2 weeks. We want to reevaluate in 2 weeks, 4 weeks. It's not like for someone to call us every day, all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if you're calling like 10 times a week, then you're like, wait a minute, slow down here.
I mean, just like there's the fair use policy. Basically, it's per medical discretion, which is our medical provider's discretion. If someone's taking advantage, we haven't, thank God, no one's been, who has the time to call us every day. You know what I mean? But if someone had a problem, hypothetically, we wouldn't. The only thing that we have a special program called Care Pass for very sick patients trying to go into the hospital, who are trying to stay out of the hospital. That's a special program. That's additional cost. But basically, earache, sinus infection, if they hypothetically had a new one every day, they could, as long as it was medically necessary, we would treat them for that fee. It charges every month. So the months that they don't need us, they still get charged.
So does that include teleconference, video calls? And stuff?
Either a phone call, a telephone. Yeah, a lot of folks like telephone. Even though we got Zoom and we're in the Zoom culture, a lot of people don't want to go on the video when they're feeling like lousy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so what is the average, if there is such a thing? I mean, there's no wait at all? It's just you call up and you pretty much
wait. There's waits. They book it. We have an appointment system. So they would call, speak to the member care team. They would book an appointment for that member. So it's not instant care. You know what I mean? but it's not for members. They'll get the appointment. There's no copays, no costs. But on the flip side, if they don't use us, it's that day of the month. It's like insurance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, but it's a supplement to somebody's.
Yeah, we're
existing
not.
plan.
Now we don't. We're not Blue Cross or United Healthcare, Manny. So we don't provide major medical or hospitalization. There are cost sharing. There's a lot of Christian-based cost sharing programs that kind of are synergistic with what we do. You know what I mean? So, or some people do major catastrophic. That's a personal decision. I don't get. We can't tell people what to do. But then we're going to be rolling out by Q3. We'll be having mental health services for employers where, if someone needs to speak to a therapist, we'll have a therapist available for the employee.
And we are talking about having like a school nurse type program as well.
The other program is school help nurse. A lot of schools are paying so much money for these school nurses. When you have and taxes, benefits over $100,000 per nurse, right? When you add all the costs, we could do it for a fraction virtually and manage multiple schools. The Band-Aids could be put on by the secretary, right? And everything else can be done pretty much virtually, Manny, because even if one of the kids needs to take insulin, we could do a Zoom call. I could watch the kid, the child pull up the insulin and inject it. So a lot of the triage that school nurses do could be done via video call. We also have remote monitoring equipment available, so we could set up that school with a little mini triage station. We could have a blood pressure machine. It will sync the data to us and instantaneously. Pulse ox, thermometer, glucose. So we have all the remote monitoring technology. So a school can also be cost effective, and you don't need an on-site nurse. In my opinion, for a school, you can use use the existing secretaries and staff to help for one aspect of it, and then a lot of it could be outsourced. I mean, online, virtual. So I think we're moving to a virtual world for a lot of services. Does that make sense? So,
yeah, I mean, especially in the day and age of COVID right now, and all these seemingly endless variants that are going to keep popping up.
Yeah, and if we could do a school nurse for a fraction of the cost by outsourcing it, we're going to save that school district lots of money. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things. So those are kind of some of the programs we have at Synergy. And so, anyone who owns a business and wants to talk more, please contact us and book an appointment. We'll contact them and kind of explain it, free quote. And it's a phenomenal program. So.
Yeah, like I said, this day and age of not wanting to be near people or go into an office.
Yeah,
especially, and I get some level of waiting for interaction, but you go to a doctor, you're waiting for an hour and a half.
Well, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you wake up at 5 a.m. and you don't feel well, you feel sick, right? And let's say you need a Z-Pack. This is before COVID, right? You need a Z-Pack and an inhaler. What do? You're not going to go to 911 and call emergency room, right? It's not critical. You're going to wait till 9 a.m. till your doctor's office open, right?
Yeah.
You're going to finally get a hold of them by 9:30. And what do most doctors' offices do? They have their sick appointments in the afternoon. They'll say come in at 3 o'clock. So you're laying in bed all day feeling like, not well, and then you got to leave your house at 2 to get there at 3, because if you're late, they won't see you. You get there at 3, you sit in the waiting room. That's why they call it waiting room. You just sit on your behind and wait. Then they call you, to the exam room. You wait there more. Nowadays we all have phones, so we're on our phones when we're in the waiting room. But I remember in the 90s, there were no phones. You had to read magazines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you wait in there, right? Doctor's not on time. Your nurse takes your vitals, right? By the time you see the doctor, if your appointment was at 3, it's probably 3:45, 3:30. You know what I mean? By the time you get the Z-Pack prescription, and you get to the pharmacy, it's a whole day affair. Wouldn't you rather just sit at home, and rest? and then you got to drive home in rush hour. Most doctor's offices, in my opinion, do sick appointments in the afternoon. By the time you get out of there, you're doing rush hour. You're already feeling horrible. You know what I mean? You got to drive to the pharmacy, you know? Meanwhile, that's old school. You know what I mean? That's like Blockbuster. You go drive to the Blockbuster, you rent your video. And remember when Netflix was coming out, everyone thought it was silly. You know what I mean? Streaming.
Yeah.
People thought it was silly.
So are there different levels or different plans, or is it just $79?
No, we have different levels and plans, and it's kind of customizable. And if someone's very sick, we have a rapid consult where they get seen faster, so they could pay more to be seen faster. So that's kind of how we do it. We have different, like a fast pass type thing, like they have at the amusement parks. So if they want to be seen within a few hours, it's not instant. Nothing's instant.
Yeah.
But it's better to sit at home, and especially if you're feeling sick,
you don't want to drive anywhere, get in the car.
Why would you want to drive and wait and this and that? You get stuck behind a train. That's like, it's living in the 80s. And the funniest thing is, I wish I was the man that invented the wax paper for doctor's offices. How does that protect you? You know what I mean? All they do is they remember.
Oh, you're talking about that sheet they put on the.
They just roll it, rip it. Room's ready for you. You got MRSA. You know what I mean? I'm not saying anyone's getting MRSA from exam tables, so don't get me wrong. But I just don't feel that is proper. Yeah, that's all they do.
How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet it was a doctor who invented that roll of paper?
Yeah, I wish I was the man. I wish I bought stock in that company. Because. You think about it, all doctors' offices have those rolls. And what does it really do for you? I don't think it does much. You know what I mean? So, does that make sense? And I'm not against going to primary care doctors' offices, but I just think a lot of people can do it from home.
That's exactly right, Chuck.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yes. So those wraps are... Yeah, those sheets is a big, in my opinion, I may be wrong. I've been wrong. My wife tells me I'm wrong all the time. That's the biggest baloney in healthcare, is thinking that piece of wax paper protects you. You know what I mean? And it's like, and that people are so used to their doctors being late. Doctors and prescribers get late, but I'd rather sit at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uber decimated the taxi industry. If you ask any of your friends, sorry, I'm rambling. If you ask any of your friends, if you had to go to the airport tomorrow at 2:00, how are you going to go? They're all going to say, take an Uber or Lyft, right? None of them are going to book an appointment with a taxi ahead of time. They have that much faith in Uber and Lyft, right? And so I think the taxi industry is decimated because they were in the point. Remember, 10, 15 years ago, you need to book an appointment with a taxi if you're going to the airport.
Yep.
Now it's on demand. You know what I mean? And that's how healthcare is going. Why book an appointment with a taxi service who's going to get your address wrong, you know what I mean, and drive you nuts? Everyone's that much faith in Uber, because it works. You know what I mean?
I don't know. $20 a week. I don't think that's that bad for something like that. And even if it was a little more to get advanced level, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think for $20 a week, it's totally worth it.
Yeah. So we don't replace. I don't tell people to cancel their major medical, but we just help them. So it's a phenomenal program. If people like it, it's not for everyone. Yeah, the membership.
Yeah.
But then we offer one-time visits. So
I'm gonna throw a curveball at you, Brian. And I know you've been waiting for this question, because right now we're tracking stories across the United States about monkeypox.
Yeah.
So, and I know that people are freaking out about it. Tell us what you know about monkeypox, and is it anything to be really worried about?
Well, monkeypox is, there's only about 100 cases going on right now. It is the cousin of smallpox, smallpox is pretty bad. But I don't, think people need to freak out right now. I mean, people need to be prepared. There's, and just stay alert. But there's, it's not, it's pretty rare to get. You know what I mean? It's not as highly as transmissible as COVID. You know what I mean? So I think people need to be on their toes, but ready to treat anything that they get, with steroids, antibiotics, you know what I mean, and self-care. Because at the end of the day, monkeypox, you're doing self-care, trying to make that patient feel more comfortable. So
real quick, we're getting an update that the casualties are now up to 18 dead in the school shooting in Uvalde.
Oh no.
18 and climbing. There are others that are in critical right now, which they're not saying whether they're looking like they're going to survive or not.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, and monkeypox is not near as transmissible. So,
I mean,
COVID is a respiratory virus.
Yeah, the Marburg fever or hemorrhagic fever is more concerning. It's the cousin of the Ebola. Because it's very fast. But we haven't seen cases. I haven't seen any cases here. So we're just trying to be prepared and learn everything we can, guys, and be available.
Yeah, and I think it really there's a lot to be said about know what you're facing. I hate to say it, but the government doesn't always know what's going on, and there is times where the government will say, you know what, this is a really bad thing. We need to take these steps. We look at COVID, and we notice that the lockdowns and all that stuff that happened from COVID kind of led to a lot of this going back to what we started on with this mental health thing. These lockdowns that were implemented by government kind of led to a massive spike just in the last 2-3 years of this happening. So
crazy. Yeah. So
well, I mean, you could definitely blame a lot of mental issues. Yes, you can, to what COVID did and restricting people to their homes. The kids are affected by this more than you'd like to think, and the fact that there's more depression has been reported, and I don't know. I mean, could this be a result of something like that? We have no idea, and I don't know if we're going to find out too much because, like I said, they took down the shooter, so it's not a good thing. I know people are asking or sending me messages that they do want to. Some people don't know what happened in about the the shooting in Uvalde, Texas, which is about roughly 90 minutes southwest of San Antonio. 18-year-old went into the school, shot his grandmother. I don't know if it happened right at the door or at the school. All it says is before he entered the school, he shot his grandmother and went in and proceeded to shoot everybody who he can get his eye on. And earlier, the count was 14 dead, and plus a teacher, 14 children. So that might have been 13 children and an adult teacher. Right now, they're saying the victim count is 18 dead, presumably children. So we're waiting on another press conference. I'll try to get in on that. I've been watching that as well. So not a good situation. I don't know what to say about it yet. It's it's never good whether they're adults or children, but when you got kids being shot like this, it's
horrible.
It's a whole different thing. And I think you know, I don't like. I saw the comments earlier today. Oh, this country is going to hell and this like that. You know, I'm not a fan of that kind of talk. I think you know, we're a country of 330 million people. That's a lot of people, and I think there are going to be issues. The problem is how do you address those, or how do you know? There were signs, right? What do you do if you got 18 arrests? What do you do if you have 10 arrests? What do you do if you have 5 or 6 arrests? Something should be flagged to healthcare or mental healthcare at some point. There's got to be some way of I don't know. You know, I'm at a loss. I really I don't know what could have been done.
Perfect solution. Yeah, but it's hard.
Manny, see if you could pull up that link that Christian just threw up.
Okay, let's see.
Christian, if you can hear me, text that to me, and I'll throw it up on the screen.
I'm trying to find out. Let's see what I can find out what that is. Yeah, because we can't click the links. So you guys put links in the comments. We can't click them. We can see them, but we can't click on them. No, give us just a second here.
But yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff going on, guys. It's not that there are people, and it gives me no pleasure in saying that there are literally people who are out there who fantasize doing this kind of stuff. And I don't know, of course, being where I live here in South Dakota, so we're all in different states, but I'm familiar with guns. I carry guns everywhere I go. Just a normal daily part of my life. But one thing you don't see a lot of us doing out here is we don't stay inside. We're not.
Yeah, I think for whatever their motive was, whatever COVID was, I think it was way too freaking overboard to handle it the way they did, and for people to just follow. Like, I'm gonna say it, like, I mean, they put the fear in everybody, you know, to wear your mask and be inside and don't leave and don't touch anybody and don't talk to anybody. It was just back to back constant like that for over 2 years. And when you do this to kids, that's a problem. You know, kids need socialization. Kids get depressed easy when they can't talk to other kids or their friends or even their teachers. Kids like their teachers, and when they can't talk to, it just things got completely off normal.
That's why I think people need to embrace mental health. It's not a stigma anymore, and if they're in crisis, they shouldn't have to internalize it. And I think if you kind of burst the bubble before it gets bad, I think that's the best solution. If someone's having suicidal ideation, they definitely, need to lean on a friend. If they can't have a friend or family member, call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. There's also the numbers down below. You could also, there's texting services. You got to talk to someone. And you know what? Sometimes because of the stigma, sometimes people are more comfortable talking to a stranger on the hotline. But
absolutely. We've talked about this.
But they're better than no one. So you can't, don't go to bed feeling suicidal, letting it fester, because it doesn't happen instantaneously. In my opinion, it's something that takes time, that people are struggling with, internalizing it, but because society is, the stigma is against it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't feel like they can lean on, their teachers, their counselors, their priests, their rabbis, their pastors. You know what I mean? And so I think their parents. So it's because of the stigma. I think if we change and you can. Does that make sense? If you could talk about it, I think that kind of deflates the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. On a previous show a while back, we talked about mental health and depression and people who were not necessarily suicidal, but very depressed and in a very dark area. And, I said, if you feel like that, you call me. My number is posted on my page. You call. And a lot of us viewers who watch my program said, hey, call me and talk. We'll talk about it, whatever. And,
how many people who are depressed who then call a friend, don't feel better after, right?
Yeah.
So I think, in my opinion, a lot of people call a friend and they could work just the depression. They could kind of vent it. They're feeling a lot better after that call when they hang up, right?
Yeah, a lot of times talking about it, getting out whatever the problem is or the feeling is. Next thing you know, you got a little conversation going.
Yeah. To me, it's like, those gorillas at the car dealership. And this is a personal thing. I think, it's like one of those gorillas, the gorilla that, and I think if you kind of poke the gorilla before it inflates too big, it shrinks down. And does that make sense? So
I get it.
That's a personal thing. So leaning on your friends, and if we could encourage people to talk about it more openly without the stigma, I think that's the number one thing to changing. Yeah, I mean,
I just want to tell everybody, I got my own program, which is Manny Behind the Mic, and then we're broadcasting now through the Patriot News Network. You send a message or call, we'll start a dialogue. We'll talk about. You need a friend, or you need an ear, you need, to vent. My number is there. My email is there. You can message me through the show. I don't care what time it is. It's important. It's important that people be heard. Sometimes, like you said, somebody just needs an ear. And let me blah all this information that's confusing me in my head. And
quite honestly, guys, reach out. Seriously. Like Manny said, my inbox is always open, and email me. There's a lot of longtime viewers who have been paying attention to Patriot News Network for going on a year and a half now. Email me. Even the new ones, admin@patriotnewsnetwork.us. Send us an email. If you want us to reach out and call you, just let us know.
True. Yeah.
I picked up the phone and called many, many people.
And by the way, that school in Uvalde, Texas is called ROB, R-O-B-B, ROB Elementary School. And they just flashed a photo of the teacher, at least one of the teachers that was killed. I don't know if there are more, but the initial one. And fourth grade teacher. Man, this is devastating. Anyway, I gotta run. I got some other stuff, but where do people get more information on the plans that you offer?
SynergyHealthDPC.com. That's direct primary care. www.synergyhealthdpc. They can register right there and text us, call us, you know what I mean? And if they want,
mention Patriot News Network or Manny Behind the Mic, or in the drop-down menu, either one, whichever one you support the most, and just let them know where you came from, where you watched this.
Okay, you got a link to the website you can put up?
Yeah, I will throw up a banner real quick.
Thank you guys for having me.
No, you know what? For $20 a week, for what you would get, if I can talk to somebody, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a month, like kind of quick without having to go to a doctor's office, I would do that.
Yeah, not everyone needs it all the time, but we're there in their wallet. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, we're there for them. We're coming out with an iPhone app, so we're going to be an app on their phone, one click away. To access the care. You think about all the time you waste in your life sitting in a waiting room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you could have done it over the phone. I'm not saying don't go to waiting rooms or doctor's offices, but certain things could be done at home. So it's really up to you. That's the word of the day is, it's up to you what you want to do. You want to sit at home and see if it could be done virtually, or want to sit in the doctor's office. So in the waiting room.
Yeah, most definitely. Shane, what else you got? Anything else you got?
I don't have anything else, guys. I am gonna start making a conscious effort every night to be going live at 6 p.m. So we will cover the stories of the day, and Manny will be joining me when he wants.
Thank you for
And-
having me, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks,
Yep.
Brian. Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I gotta run here. I'll be coming back live tonight, probably around 9:30, something like that. And I don't know, or maybe sooner. I don't know. It might
I'm
end
gonna
up being
address this
sooner.
real quick. And Chuck, I don't mean to come across as abrasive. I've been doing this for a long time, so I get kind of callous to a lot of this stuff. And what Manny and I are equals here. Right, Manny?
Yep.
So
No issues at all.
there are things that I remember reading about a while back, didn't follow up on them, thought they passed. Sometimes I get stuff wrong. And that's the human side of this business.
Yeah,
So-
and even though you have these shootings that seem to be happening more often, but considering how many guns out there, how many people have them, I know it's not. It might not sound right to hear this, but it's not. I'm not even going to say it. It's just, I know, because it sounds bad, no matter what it is. I mean, it's obviously a horrible thing, but it could be a million times worse also.
And it's, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, guys. The reason my background's blurred is there's things sitting on my bed, which is right behind me, that would get us banned from the internet, well, banned from Facebook and all these other places because they're firearms. I use my firearm every day. I go out with them, and all of my kids, from my 7-year-old down to my 3-year-old, know how to responsibly handle a firearm. I start them out very young and work with them. Never loaded, but I make sure they understand and respect firearms for what they are, and make sure they know and understand all the rules and everything that goes into it. Because I feel, and this is my raising. I came from my dad was a Air Force vet, but I wasn't allowed to have guns when I was young. So I never really got to really experience that. But now that I do, I'm starting my kids out young, because I don't want them to be in the same position that I was at 16, 17, 18 years old and not knowing how to handle a firearm at all. So there's guys, we all live around firearms. I know there's some people that don't, and they're scared of them. That's fine. But to blame the gun is absolutely asinine.
Yeah, but that's going to keep happening, and that's going to come up. It'll start today. I'm sure it started already.
Oh, they started. I got the notification about the shooting, and then right underneath, Nancy Pelosi calling for gun control measures.
Yeah, that's that you know what? Any kind of, like I said, any kind of additional gun control rules that would have been in place would not have stopped this.
Yeah, there's a nice big sign on every school, at least up here, that says gun-free zone.
Yeah,
And you know how many I'm pretty sure quite a few states have gun-free zones around schools. I don't want to say all of them because that might not be true, but we've had an increased tick up in violence in school zones where nobody's armed
Yeah.
and nobody has the ability to fight back.
All right. Yeah, I gotta cut this right now.
So you guys have a great night. Manny, we'll see
Have
you
a good
guys
night.
at
Thanks for
9,
tuning
9:30.
in. I'll be back a little bit later. I'm gonna monitor things, and I may need to come back sooner, but it's something I gotta take care of right now.
Okay. You have a great night.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yep. Bye.